And we're back into Friendsim 2, Chapter 6. I think we might get through the chapter, unless there's something more that I'm not anticipating, but let's go.
Self-voicing enabled. You really don't want to bother any of them right now. It feels like they've all got their own issues to work through privately, and maybe it isn't your place to try to solve everyone else's problems like this. It's just, you've got your standard pitch about hey let's smash the fucking empire, to go through, and you haven't even gotten to it yet. Instead, you wander around vaguely, back to the common room. Brynja isn't there anymore, but you do see Wanchi sitting in the corner with a thick book open in her lap. Looks like some kind of gaming source book. When she hears you approaching, Wanchi closes the book and stands up quietly.
It's you again, Ulu.
It's you again, alright. You sigh and look around the common room. The whole vibe of the caverns is really inviting. It's got this warm quality that just makes you think of home. Warmth and comfort, and you can see why keeping this alive means something to Brynja. A grub nudges by your foot with a soft noise of irritation and you carefully step out of the way, letting the little fellow move along their way. Those grubs are just all over the place, getting into everything.
Branya takes care of them all, her and Lanera mostly. Daria helps too, but they try to pretend they're only doing it because of their mate Sprit.
Brynja, right. You're still getting used to the way that those three have their whole deal going on. Not gonna lie, you hadn't quite imagined that you'd be getting so deeply invested in relationship drama on this trip.
Well, that's what they're kind of all about these days. That and generally being nervous about going off-world, I guess, Uwu.
Which reminds you of what Lanera had told you, about Wanchi and her testing. She leans in and hisses at you.
Keep quiet about that. I know Lanera's not gonna say anything, but if Branya finds out...
It's okay, you're not going to say anything to her. Besides, you think you understand why she's doing this, and honestly it's something you can get behind. Wanchi relaxes and settles back, hefting her book and smiling.
As long as you're not gonna snitch on me to Branya, Ulu.
And suddenly, her smile fades again.
It's not like I can hold out much longer. I'll pass my ordeals eventually, or I'll get cold and they'll find someone else. One way or another.
She doesn't finish the sentence, but she doesn't need to. Sooner or later, the clock's going to run out on all of them. Wanchi's trying to keep that from happening, but she can't do it forever.
Yeah.
But she knows what you're about, hope. Hope for a better future, a future without the Empire.
I know, but trying to convince them of that is basically impossible. Not while they're also up each other's asses about their quadrants, Uwu.
Okay, so you're open to basically any ideas at this point. Wanchi puts her chin in her hands as she considers this. Come on. She's already made her decision here. You know she's doing the whole rebellious teen thing, but she obviously cares about the others. Okay.
Let's see what's down there. One.
Selected. Okay, so you're open to basically any ideas at this point.
Fuck each other, just do it already.
Select. Okay, so you're open to
Of course
basically
I do.
any ideas
I'm
at this
trying
point.
to figure out how to do this.
Wanchi puts her chin in her hands as
Want
she
to get them
considers
to
this.
listen? You're gonna
Come
need
on.
to untangle their stupid
She's already
bullshit a
made
little
her
bit,
decision
Uwu.
here. Yeah, you gathered, but how? Eventually, Wanchi snaps her fingers and nods.
I got it! Uwu?
She's got it? Is she planning to share that information with you at any point, or is this going to be the world's least fun version of 20 questions? Wanchi rolls her eyes pointedly.
We're gonna go talk to Daria, Uwu.
You make your way down the corridor toward Daria's respite block, carefully avoiding a few more grubs that just kinda crawling around the hallways. God, you really don't know that they should be allowed to wander around like that. What if someone were to sit on them and crush them with their ass? 1. Self-voicing disabled.
Alright, let's do this here. Watch your language.
Why would anyone do something like that, Uwu?
Self-voicing enabled. You don't know, okay. Sometimes you just have these thoughts and you're not sure where they come from.
Pretty sure I told you I'm busy, didn't I?
When Daria notices Wanji, she raises an eyebrow and cocks her head to the side. Her tone softens noticeably.
What do you want, grub size?
We need to talk to you. Well, the alien needs to talk to you. It's important, Uwu.
So L-Word calls her grub size. I guess it's kind of like a common thing.
Daria frowns and looks back and forth between the two of you. She's perceptive enough to know exactly where this is going, and you get the sinking feeling in your gut that she's just going to shout you down about it. But she doesn't.
Fine. Come in, let's talk. Fuck it, what else am I doing, right?
Look, I have been talking to my Moirail, and I know what you're going to say.
You know, misfiled paperwork, start fires, smash the fucking system, all that good shit.
Save. Save slot for. Close menu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah!
Wait. Fuck yeah. Just like that.
I mean, it's not going to be that fucking simple. But my Moirail means a lot to me, so I'm down if she's down. Besides, she wouldn't even know what to do without me.
Not that it matters a whole lot, because I can't do a fucking thing right now. In case you haven't noticed, I've got a mate spread and a kismesis to worry about. I care about those two.
You do notice that she didn't make any real distinction between the two quadrants when talking about them, and that maybe means something, but it doesn't matter on those specifics because she's right. So what do you even do?
We need to talk to Linera. We need to talk to Linera about this. If we're on the same page, we can probably convince Branya. You know this isn't going to be easy, right? What you're suggesting is different. And Branya isn't really about different right now.
Without waiting for a response, Daria walks off down the hallway, presumably to go find Branya. You're about to turn to follow, but you notice that Wanji's just standing there, her eyes watering a little bit. Hey, buddy, what's wrong? Wanji glares at you.
Don't call me that. Do you really think you can convince them? Are they really going to stay with me? Uwu?
Well, you can't make any promises yet, but you're going to try your best. Wanji smiles at you.
Thanks. That's all I can really ask, I guess. I am gonna go to my room. Good luck talking to Linera, Uwu.
3. As you're walking down the hallways of the caverns, you start to wonder something out loud. How come Daria hasn't been acting particularly angry at you? Self-voicing disabled.
Oh, one from Chixie. Life is so much sometimes. I miss my friends. Okay, so there's Chixie and then there's Chixie Real. Okay. I think we probably went through that at some other point, but I just forgot. Nobody asked Real Tree's Tethys her opinion. She keeps telling us any fucking way. And well, I've heard how you talk to your mate spirit when you think no one is listening. I'm going to save it here and try the other options. No.
You think I should just let my Moirail end up in a whole different universe than me? You think that's a good outcome?
Self-voicing enabled. Okay, well, when she puts it like that.
Not that it matters a whole lot, because I can't do a fucking thing right now.
Quit.
Okay, load.
Load slot 4.
Let's see what
Maybe.
does.
Nice to know you're as fucking indecisive as ever. Can't even pretend to take a stand on anything, huh? Not that it matters a whole lot, because I can't do
Actually a pretty short one. Load to go back to the one we're on.
As you're walking down the hallways of the caverns, you start to wonder something out loud. How come Daria hasn't been acting particularly angry at you? Select.
Okay, we already went through these.
As you're walking, like, she is angry, but in the way that she was before and not in some kind of uniquely brand new way that implies an anger directed specifically at you rather than the system as a whole.
You're still just as insecure, huh?
Yeah, basically, but she didn't answer the question. Daria groans to herself. The two of you reach a small landing, a kind of alcove in the middle of the set of shallow stairs that leads eventually to Lenira's study, which you are now 100% sure is not a murder dungeon.
Why waste my time being angry at you? For what? I'm sure you had a good reason to leave. It's not like anyone expected you to show up in the first place. You being a fucking alien and all that.
She does make a really good point, but still, you think that Tizia's made a really good point too. You got to know people here, and then you just abandoned them.
Tisius is my Moirail, and I love her. But sometimes she can be a bit intense when it comes to this. Bet she gave you the whole why you've abandoned us speech, huh?
Oh, yeah. Is that the kind of thing she does a lot?
No, but she was bitching to me about you before you showed up. If it makes you feel any better, she seems to think you're really trying to make this right.
You are. That is absolutely a thing that you're doing. Problem is, it kind of feels like this is a situation that just isn't going to be made right so easily. Daria shrugs and looks away.
Who fucking knows?
You're back in Lenira's study again, and it looks like Lenira is writing something in some kind of journal or diary or something at her desk. Daria clears her throat, causing Lenira to jump up and quickly shove the book away into a compartment on the desk.
You're back! Oh, and you've got Daria with you. Daria, what are you doing here?
She's smiling in a way that has you starting to feel really self-conscious about being here.
Look, we need to talk, Lenira.
About what? Is something wrong?
Daria doesn't answer right away. Instead, she shakes her head softly.
No, nothing's wrong. It's just, we need to talk. Our, friend over there has something they need to say.
1.
Well, first, let's see what
What?
this is. From Brunia.
At Grubsitters Club. At
I've got
Grubsitters
a lot
Club.
to think
At
about lately.
selected. Save slot 6. Close. They don't have to live like this.
I mean, sure, I guess. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Point is, we don't have to keep living like this anymore.
Living like this? Like what, exactly?
Lenira frowns and looks back and forth between you and Daria. Load.
I haven't had a
Load selected.
game over in
Next
a while.
file. Save slot. Load.
Let's see what the
Previous.
other option gets
Load.
us.
Load. Load slots.
Load,
1.
load.
They don't have to take this. 1.
Exactly. That's just what I was saying before. Point is, we don't have to keep living like this anymore.
Living like this? Like what, exactly?
Lenira frowns and looks back and forth between you and Daria. 1.
Okay, so it looks like it doesn't
One.
really change much of anything.
Selected. Save. Next file. Save slot. Save. Close.
Alright. Okay, this is probably where I can pick which route
You know how they.
this one takes. So let's actually start with this one and then come back here and
You know a way out.
do the revolution one.
Lenira doesn't look less skeptical. If anything, she looks at you with even more confusion than a second ago.
Why would you say that? Don't you understand? I'm happy here? I'm happy with my Moirail and my Kismesis.
She nods at Daria, who looks away with a small smile. You don't understand these two. Save slot 3.
To
Say-
save
close.
scum.
Doesn't this all feel performative? Like, isn't it maybe time that Lenora actually examined her feelings for once? She seems so repressed, and that can't possibly be helpful.
I'm not repressed. Why would you say that to me?
Just, maybe she
Uh-oh,
has
lost
some
the
things
point.
she wants to talk about.
You got to be fucking kidding me. You're such a wiggler. Don't you ever take a stand on anything?
It's not like it matters anyway. It won't change how any of us feels.
This strikes you as a singularly odd thing to say. You wonder, what does she mean by that, exactly?
If you'll excuse me, this has me feeling off. I need to sit down in my respite block.
Lenora pushes around you, brushes gently past Daria, and leaves the room.
Shit. We need to go talk to her. I need to go talk to her.
You quickly rush out into the hallway, following Daria down to the end where another doorway sits open.
I think this is a
Save.
call to try a
Load.
different option.
Load slot. Why can't she just admit how she feels? Daria is smiling as soon as you say it, but you can see the heat behind Lenora's face as she looks
Another
away.
point for Daria.
I don't know what you mean. I'm perfectly open about how I feel all the time.
Is that really true, though? It feels like she maybe has some very specific feelings for both Brynja and Daria that she's not willing to explore.
That's silly. We're all a good match. We've met the Imperial mandate that we not overfill our quadrants. We're all well balanced.
Is that what she's looking for in
Oh.
life? Really? To be well balanced. Lenora doesn't meet your eyes.
It's not like it matters anyway. It won't change how any of us feels.
This strikes you as a singular
Okay.
load slot.
Actually,
She's right. Lenora smiles at you and nods.
Of course. I've given this a lot of thought.
Next to her, Daria is glaring over at you with a barely concealed look of disgust.
Oh, yeah. We're all dealing with this whole situation in such a healthy way, right?
Daria, be nice. Our friend here is just trying to help.
Oh, is that what they're trying to do?
It's not like it matters anyway. It won't change how any of us feels.
This strikes you as
Yep, blah blah blah.
Load.
Alright.
Load.
Option 4.
Load
let's see what
slot.
that does.
Maybe they should talk to Brynja about this? At almost the same time, Lenora smiles at you and Daria rolls her eyes all the way off to the side.
That's an excellent idea. Branya will definitely have some good advice.
You notice that Daria rolls her eyes, but she doesn't say anything.
It's not like it matters anyway. It won't change how any of us feels.
This strikes you as a singularly odd thing to say. You wonder, what does she mean by that, exactly?
So, the first option, I got a point for both of them. This one, I just get 1 point for.
If you'll excuse me, this has me feeling...
Saves. Load slot. Act. Doesn't this, like, isn't it maybe time that
I'm not
Lenora
repressed.
just, maybe she has some things she wants to talk.
No, never mind.
Say. Load slot. Act. Why can't she just? Daria is smiling as soon
I
as
don't
you
know
say
what you
it.
mean.
Is that really true?
That's
No.
silly.
It
We've
feels
met
like
the
she may.
Imperial-
Is that what she's
Okay,
Say-
yeah. That's...
load. Load.
Loot.
Lenora smiles
Ah.
at you and nods.
Of course. I've given this a lot of thought.
Next to her.
Whoops.
Loading will load slot 3. At almost the same time,
That's an excellent
Lenora
idea.
smiles. You notice that Daria rolls her eyes.
It's not like it
but
matters
she doesn't
anyway.
say any. This strikes you as a singularly odd
If
thing
you'll
to say.
excuse me,
You
this
wonder.
has me...
Lenora pushes around you, brushes gently past Daria. Quit. Save slot.
Save right there.
Close menu. Lenora.
Shit. We need to go talk to her. I need to go talk to her.
You quickly rush out into the hallway, following Daria down to the end where another doorway sits open. Cautiously, you lean in, The room inside is inviting, lit with a cool green light that reminds you of the forests back home on Earth.
These books, it looks like the shelf is kind of going one way, but these books right here are pointing the opposite way, and it's just kind of weird. Although they're trying to do like a vanishing point out in the distance, but yeah, it looks like these books over here should be like we should be seeing the other cover, if that makes sense. Whatever.
Lenira is leaning against her desk, and Daria looks like she's trying to figure out exactly what she wants to say.
Has she told you about her band?
Oh yeah, of course she has. Wait a minute, you see Daria's eyes go wide.
You know about that?
Daria, everyone knows about that. We all worry about you so much.
Quit. Save slot.
Save
Close.
scheme.
Explain that you think what Daria does is really cool. Music has always been a strong part of resistance to oppression, at least on Earth it was. You think it's amazing that Daria decided to get involved in something so important. Lenira grins and puts a hand in front of her face.
I suppose it is pretty cool.
I can't believe you knew all about that and just kinda didn't say anything. Fuck, I need a minute.
Daria's leaning up against the wall of the hallway, her arm. Save slots.
Here, save,
Save.
right there. See if
Load. Load slot. Agree that you also worry about Daria. You think that Daria is taking a big risk, maybe too big of a risk?
Who are you to talk to me like that, to decide what kind of risks I'm supposed to take?
Lenira is looking down at the ground. She clears her throat softly.
They're right, you know. What if you get hurt? What if you get killed?
I can't believe you knew all about that and just kinda didn't say anything. Fuck, I need a minute.
Daria's leaning up against the wall.
okay.
Load slots. Daria's leaning up against the wall of the hallway, her arms crossed and a deep frown on her face. You walk up slowly, making sure to put on your friendliest expression.
What the fuck do you want? Shouldn't you be in there gassing Miss Bulgesucker up some more?
Your face flashes hot with embarrassment and you reassure Daria that no, you're actually out here to talk to her.
About what? How much you all disapprove of the path I've chosen in life? I do my duties here in the caverns. I'm there for my quadrant mates. But I can't just sit around and watch this planet burn.
I mean, this is what Tizius and I have always wanted, right? A chance to really fuck this system up.
For some reason, she sounds uncertain, as if she's gotten to the point where what she wants is almost a reality, but she's realizing she might not actually want it after all.
Maybe Lenera's right. Maybe it's just too dangerous. Maybe all this does is end up getting us killed. And then what? What can we do for anyone if we're just a pile of green-colored paste on the ground?
Save. Next file page. Save slot. Close. She needs to support her morale.
Yeah, you're right. Come on, let's go back and talk to Lenera.
Does she mean Ms. Bulgesucker?
You tell her I said that, and I'll fucking murder you.
You walk back into the respite block to find Lenira pacing back and forth in the middle of the room. She's got a firm grip on the edge of her sweater vest and she's rolling the fabric in her palm, back and forth, as she looks around nervously.
Alright,
save slot.
Come here.
Load.
This one
Loading
goes.
will loads. It's okay to worry about her own safety.
Yeah, you're right. Come on, let's go back and talk to Lenera.
Does she mean Ms. Bulgesucker?
Tell her I said that, and I'll fucking murder you.
Quit. Load slot 2. Load.
Alright.
Load. No.
Hold on,
Load.
what's that? Plain auspices.
Load slot. Load slot 2. You walk back into the respite block to find Lenira pacing back and forth in the middle of the room. She's got a firm grip on the edge of her sweater vest and she's rolling the fabric in her palm, back and forth, as she looks around nervously.
I don't know what to do right now. Daria, I don't know what to do.
Daria crosses the room and puts a hand on Lenira's arm, steadying her.
Look, we need to talk. Privately.
You feel like that last bit was definitely directed at you. Okay, fine. You know how to read a room, okay, no you kind of don't, but you do understand that maybe it's time to not be here. You wave goodbye and tactfully leave the room as quickly as you can. Now what are you supposed to do? You want to give those two a fair amount of time to hash things out. But also, you're bored. You decide to go looking for Brynja. After all, maybe she has some thoughts on all the juicy recent developments you've been witnessing. Leaving Daria and Lenira behind to sort out whatever they're planning to talk through in whatever awkward way they can manage, you wander the halls of the caverns looking for Brynja. As you do, you notice just how empty everything feels. You remember there being more Jades living here before. Maybe not a lot more, but definitely more. You wonder if maybe the others left for their own ascension, leaving only these four behind to tend to things. The whole thing gives you this sudden feeling of existential dread, a feeling that washes right over you and leaves you shivering in its wake. No wonder none of them want to talk about any of this. As you pass by the grub nursery, you're drawn in by the sound of someone inside, singing softly. You stop at the entrance to the nursery and listen. It's obviously Brynja, there's no one else it could be, but you don't want to interrupt.
It's okay. I can hear you out there. You might as well come in.
She's sitting by the edge of that small pool of soper, watching as a couple grubs paddle around slowly, making soft mewling noises.
Was there something else you wanted? I'm sorry if I've been distracted lately. It's not your fault.
Save slot. Close menu. You need to talk about her and the others. Brynja looks off toward the corner of the room and her hand comes up to brush a strand of green-dyed hair off to the side nervously. Okay, you know that the whole we need to talk opener is a little bit much.
Green dyed? I thought, I guess I just kind of always assumed that there's some bit of coloring that happened natural, but I guess that makes sense.
But really, they can't keep living like this. Even by your admittedly lax standards of interpersonal relationships, this is downright pathological.
What do you mean? We are...
She doesn't finish the sentence. You don't think she can. Instead, Brynja looks down and frowns.
It doesn't matter. 1, we can't stop what's coming. 2, the Empire will always find us. 3, we need to make the most of our time while we have it.
It sounds like she's about to cry. You look around the nursery at all the grubs crawling around. At the cabinets full of neatly organized supplies. At all the signs that this is someplace full of genuine love and care. Save.
Are these same? Okay, yeah, the same questions, so.
She said that they need to make the most of their time, but are they really doing that? Because if you're being really bluntly honest, it seems like they're all kinda miserable here.
What right do you have to say that to me?
Okay, she definitely took that the wrong way. Brynja sniffles loudly and clenches her fist, bringing it up and letting it fall loosely into her lap. You can hear the growing anger and frustration in her voice.
No, I'm not happy here. But what choices do I have? Where would we run? I have my grubs to care for. I have people I care about now. I can't just abandon them to the whims of the Empire. After all, what can we do? We can't fight the Empire, no matter how much we want to.
She starts to sob quietly.
If they can just take whatever they want, whoever they want.
Okay, I should have
load
saved.
Slot. Load slot.
So,
You need to talk. Brynja looks off toward the corner of the room and but really, they can't keep living like this.
What do you mean?
Even, she doesn't finish the sentence. You don't think she can.
It doesn't matter.
Instead,
1,
Brynja
we
looks
can't
down
stop
and
what's coming.
frowns.
3, we need to make the most.
It sounds like she's about
Okay.
save slot.
So after every single
Clo-
one of these, I gotta. So, what would it take to convince her?
What would it take to convince her? Brynja just kind of stares at you. She looks so utterly defeated right now, as if the years have just built up and crashed over her like a wave and now she's drowning. And the people who are there to support her care a lot about her, but they're all in the same ocean.
I don't know. What does it even matter? Where would we go? What would we do?
She can keep fighting back. Why not? Why keep letting the Empire do whatever they want?
If only everything were that simple.
I didn't lose any points, so.
Save. Save slot. Close.
Save.
About Lenira.
Oh, you were talking to her before, right?
Brynja brightens up at the mention of Lenira's name.
She really is a wonderful Moirail.
Save. Save slot. Close. Okay, this is ridiculous. Look, you know that Lenira doesn't just have pale feelings for Brynja. This is, perhaps, one of the singularly most obvious things you've ever seen in your life.
What do you mean?
Oh, stop it already. You're actually getting annoyed now. It's not like you don't get it, but also come the heck on. Every time she's in the room, Lenira practically melts around her.
But I have a mate spread already.
And why does that mean that she can't feel the way she does about someone else? Like, maybe. Lenira. She doesn't respond to you, at least not verbally. Instead, Brynja's suddenly very interested in the floor of the nursery. In the cabinets off the side. In basically anything but looking you in the eyes.
You sound like Daria.
What does that mean? You know that you've been getting a lot of shit for being gone for a long time and not really vibing with everyone's deal over the last couple sweeps, but, you don't get it?
She talks about how the quadrants don't have to be a prison we live inside of. That the Empire wants us to see them that way. Because it allows them to control us yet another way. To control who we care about, who we care for.
Doesn't that make sense though? You're still kinda sorting this through, but it seems like you've seen enough vacillation and general blurring of those lines that maybe the idea that it's a strictly rigid system is. You don't want to use the phrase complete bullshit, but you're having trouble thinking of another.
Yep. Global elites don't want people getting to forming strong relationships, you know. Getting some tinfoil hat action there.
This time, Brynja looks uncomfortable, but she doesn't say anything.
Okay, gonna load.
Load slot 6, Thursday, load. Load slot. Sure, great Moirail. Brynja smiles at you and nods slowly. When she speaks, there's a trepidation to it that suggests that maybe, just maybe, she's seeing the same things that you are.
She absolutely is, without a doubt. 1, kind. 2, understanding. 3, loving.
Brynja stops herself and freezes in place,
full bar.
and you really don't think that last bit was supposed to come out.
Which is a ridiculous thing to say, because I have a mate spread who I love dearly.
And why does that mean that she can't feel the way she does about someone else? Like, maybe. Lenira. She doesn't respond to you, at least not verbally. Instead, Brynja's suddenly very interested in the floor of the nursery. In the cabinets off the side. In basically anything but looking you in the eyes.
You sound like Daria.
What does that mean? You know that you've been getting a lot of shit for being gone for a long time and not really vibing with everyone's deal over the last couple sweeps, but, you don't get it?
She talks about how the quadrants don't have to be a prison we live inside of. That the Empire wants us to see them that way. Because it allows them to control us yet another way. To control who we care about, who we care for.
Doesn't that make sense though? You're still kinda sorting this through, but it seems like you've seen enough vacillation and general blurring of those lines that maybe the idea that it's a strictly rigid system is. You don't want to use the phrase complete bullshit, but you're having trouble thinking of another. This time, Brynja looks uncomfortable, but she doesn't say anything. Save. Next file. Save slot.
Okay.
Close. Tell her
So that was Laniera.
About Daria. You're a little bit surprised that she and Brynja are mate sprits. Like, last time they seemed to be a dynamic that could basically be described as antagonistic, and now this? It feels weird.
Well, it feels weird because you weren't there. Feelings don't develop all at once. And I'll admit it wasn't something I'd considered, but after so many of the others were taken away or abandoned the caverns, Daria became invaluable. Invaluable to the caverns, then to me.
She smiles at you, swiping a stray hair out of her face, and there's a look of peace in her face you don't feel like you see much on Alternia.
Is it a perfect mate spritship? No, of course not. But perfect is a lie.
What does she mean by that? Is she thinking about her relationship with Elward? She nods quickly, still smiling. Save slot to close menu.
Oh geez, I'm on page 25.
Save, close. Hadn't thought of it like that.
You not being Alternian, perhaps it's understandable?
Well, sure, but the quadrants aren't wholly different from how you tend to think of relationships. Maybe adding another layer of weird expectations on top, but it's not like that doesn't exist where you're from.
Oh, so you're just incompetent then?
You don't like to call it that, per se, but, you know what, this one is probably a line of conversation that's only going to make you look stupider, so you're going to very wisely choose to drop it.
It felt like it was my fault, you know?
Wait, what was her fault?
What happened with Elward? That I was overbearing, or perhaps didn't fill her, needs.
Brynja stumbles over her words for a second, clearly flustered, but quickly regains her composure.
But I realized that it was neither of our faults. There were deeper issues, and ultimately it was better for us to be apart.
Did she ever get the sweater back? Brynja smiles at you.
I did not, in fact, get the sweater back. It's fine. If keeping it brings her some happiness, then she can have the damn thing. My whole point being, 1, I get to start over with Daria and learn from my mistakes. 2, both Elward and I are in a better place now.
She sees your face and stops.
Is that not true? I haven't heard from her in a while.
Save. Save slot 3.
Save right there.
Load.
Roll back a bit.
Load slot. This still seems almost pathological.
Didn't your Lucis ever teach you not to speak to people like that?
You didn't exactly have a
losing 2
Lucis,
points.
so.
Well, you shouldn't speak to people like that. You presume an awful lot. And yet, 1, you have no idea what you're talking about. 2, my quadrants are honestly none of your business.
Okay, that's fair. Ouch. Maybe you should try to stop sticking your foot in your mouth like this.
It felt like it was my fault, you know?
Wait, what was her fault?
What happened with Elward? That I was overbearing, or perhaps didn't fill her, needs.
Brynja stumbles over her words for a second, clearly flustered, but quickly regains her composure.
But I realized that it was neither of our faults. There were deeper issues, and ultimately it was better for us to be apart.
Did she ever get the sweater back? Brynja smiles at you.
I did not, in fact, get the sweater back. It's fine. If keeping it brings her some happiness, then she can have the damn thing. My whole point being, 1, I get to start over with Daria and learn from my mistakes. 2, both Elward and I are in a better place now. I hope.
She sees your face and stops.
Is that not true? I haven't heard from her in a while.
You know, honestly, if it's been like 2 sweeps, and I think 2 sweeps would be close to our 4 years. If Elward is still kind of pining after 4 years, I mean, then that kind of has to be a little bit on Elward there. She just has to like move on. I mean, really, that's, you know, getting a little unhealthy there. Okay,
Load.
load.
Load slot.
One where I didn't lose 2 points.
Maybe she could check in on L word?
Maybe you're right. I don't think she ever blocked me on Chitter. I can reach out and just make sure she's okay. Even if I don't have feelings for her anymore, I worry.
1. So, at Grub Sitters Club.
If you see this, I'm sorry.
Save slot. Load slot.
Give
She
her
needs
some
to give
space.
L word some space.
You're right. And even if I were to reach out, 1, I doubt she wants to talk to me anyway. 2, I'm sure she's fine. 3, I don't want to give her the wrong impression about my feelings for her.
Okay.
Load slot. 1. Is
Yep. Message
Selected.
sent.
Isn't she tired of all of this? Brynja laughs. The sound echoes off the walls of the nursery and comes back sounding hollow and forced. Her voice is subdued when she responds.
Of course I'm tired. I wish I could leave, but
But she's got too much here to just run away. And besides, where would she even go? 1.
exactly. So we have to make the best of bad circumstances.
That hurts so much to hear, not what she's saying but the feeling behind it. The sense that she wants more than anything to run away, but can't. It hurts to hear, and it hurts to see the look on her face as she realizes for the 100,000th time the position she's in. 1.
Another message.
Selected. At Grub Sitters Club. I'm sorry.
Oh, damn.
At save slot.
Get 90.
Close me.
To do.
Tell her you talked to Lank and L word. Against all odds, you think you actually managed to convince Lank to support the rebellion. Brynja's mouth hangs open, as if she's trying to find the words to speak but just can't. Finally, she coughs and composes herself.
Him? I would never have guessed.
Yep. You were, honestly, a little bit surprised too, but here you are.
But what about Elward?
You look down at the ground, and you're not sure what to say. She's, let's call it undecided. But Lank is making a real change. That has to count for something, right?
That's... You know I can't just up and openly defy the Empire like that, right? This has given me a lot to think about. 1, I'm tired. 2, I want to talk to my matesprit about some things. 3, I would appreciate being able to check in with my Moirail as well.
Well, by happy coincidence, you think both of them are in Lenira's room, talking something out. You can take her there.
You can take me to my own Moirail's respite block?
Oh, yeah, you guess that does sound a little bit silly when you say it out loud.
Oh, shoot, missed
Say,
the
load,
missed an option.
load slot.
Loop
1.
road.
Tell her about Wanji's decision.
Let's get this out of the way first.
Selected. Tell her. So Wanji's on her way toward joining the rebellion.
What in the world?
In an instant, Brynja is right next to you and holding your arm with a steel grip.
What are you talking about?
Actually, maybe that wasn't the best way to put it, more like. Wanji was sure she could find some way to help others to support the rebels, even if it's only in a small way.
This has given me a lot to think about, but 1, I'm tired. 2, I want to talk to my matesprit about some things. 3, I would appreciate being able to check in with my Moirail as well.
Okay, is it
saves-
a number of
Load slot 5, load.
things? we
Load
do?
slot 1.
Yeah.
Tell her you talked to Lan. Against
you
all
call it
odds, Brynja's mouth hangs
Him?
open,
I would
as if
never
she's
have
trying
guessed.
to find the... Brynja, yep.
But-
You look down at the ground,
That's...
and
you
you're
know
not
I
sure
can't-
what
This
to
has
say.
given me a lot to... 1,
She's,
I'm tired.
let's call it
2,
undecided. Well, by happy coincidence,
You can
think
take
both
me
of them
to
are
my
in
own
Lenira's-
Moirail.
Oh, yeah, you guessed that. Brynja leads the way towards Lenira's room, her hands clenched tightly in front of her. You're not sure exactly what's on her mind, but it's got to be related to everything you just talked about with her. You can hear her muttering as she walks.
I think that's
Save.
a good spot
Save
to
slot.
call it for
Save.
now. We will get into whatever that next conversation is, and then we'll have to go back and basically replay like half of this entire thing down the revolution path, which is the one I probably really want to do, but it should go a bit quicker, kind of knowing what we're doing. So anyway, till next time.
Save slot 4.
Lita.
Save. Main menu. Save. Yes. Volume 11.